What's good? Coming at y'all with another video. It's your boy D-Dot coming at y'all with the Major Music Lounge. This is actually the day of the video shoot that me and my man's M.A. right here just got through shooting. Got a new album called Raptavist, which will be releasing very soon. And I just really wanted to spend some time and just kind of talk to him about, how we really have some dialogue around how we really got the ball rolling on his project. Also maybe some things that he's working on solo, and just to kind of get that out there. And for those of y'all don't know, Major Music Lounge is kind of my new show or my new segment here on YouTube, which I'm going to interview different artists, different producers on what they're working on and just maybe their journey through the music industry. And so without much further ado, what's good, my brother?
Big bro, man. Hey, if y'all don't know, I know y'all know, but man, this dude a real goat on some real shit, man. I owe a lot to D-Dot, for real, man. I owe a lot to D-Dot.
Appreciate that, man. So man, like me and M.A. actually probably is close to 10 years, if not 10 years.
Yeah, it's probably over 10 years. It's late 09, early 2010.
Yeah, I definitely remember, like, it was just, I think you had called me on my Google Voice number one time for some beats when you were working on
Holla at Me Super Mike.
Yeah, Holla at Me Super Mike and Wrong. Yeah,
right,
Wrong.
Yeah,
that was the song.
Right.
And it was just kind of like from there we just continued to work. Been on several of my projects, produced some tracks for him as well. So as far as yourself, I've had you on my old show, The Producer's Corner, and we've talked there before. But tell them a little bit about yourself. How you got started as an artist, and
Man, probably that typical growing up. In the inner city, friends rapping. I had a good friend named Castle Williams that he was doing it in the mid '90s. Like he said, he was inspired by Lil Flip. While we in Texas, where he could just freestyle off his head, and it was so amazing that a lot of people was intimidated because they felt like he was the only person who could do it. But I don't know, for whatever reason, I was bold enough to ask him to teach me. He taught me how to freestyle, then I started penning on my own, and it turned into, by 9th grade, I'm in the actual studio, recording a real song in a rap group. We get songs on the radio, make an anthem from the city where I'm from, put out in Louisiana, and bro, ever since.
That's
ever since.
I always like to hear stories like that, for one, because our journeys are kind of a little different from the aspect of, and I'm a little bit older. Well, I'm gonna be 40 at the end of this year.
Okay.
So, when I was in high school, I never really had access to a lot of the same things, as far as the technology. I really didn't get started with doing production and making music till I was about 25. Beats when I was around 25. I didn't start rapping till I was like almost 30.
Oh. Okay.
And it was kind of one of those things where I had to put my own lab together because a lot of people that were older than me, I wanted to try to work with them, but it was kind of hard around that time.
Right.
So that's one of the things, man, that I find kind of cool, just to see if in 9th grade or in high school, what I would have done if I was in your shoes at that time. And a lot of it has changed. As far as like your own personal projects and things you're working on right now, what are you?
Man, currently we still pushing BGB Third Down, man. My latest project that dropped recently. Got my lead single off of it, but we got other stuff we rolling out. We shooting video, we working on that. We still pushing it, but just in the lab, man. Shout out Broderick, one of my producers. And we just recording, we just really working. I might throw some singles out here and there. I got the Raptavist with D-Dot coming out soon, So, we got projects, content, and music, but we just, for the most part, really just working.
Yeah, man. I've always admired, your hustle, for one. Ever since reaching out to me and stuff, and, just one project after another. And, just from me to you, just working on this project, We started this thing probably about a year, maybe a little over a year ago.
Right.
And a lot we probably had, I would say, 30 to 40% of the project recorded around that time.
Right.
And literally in probably the last couple of weeks, we really knocked out the rest of it.
Right.
But a lot has changed in our world since then.
Right.
Now, really, the whole premise of the project was really talking about a lot of the social issues that are currently in America right now.
Right.
I ain't, got to tell you about the elephant in the room. If everybody's been watching the news over the last week, really over the last 4 years,
right.
It's really been transpiring. And, I've wrote records like every day, like Free Thoughts, over the past 4 years, and to me this kind of expanded upon those types of topics.
Right.
From everything from the George Floyd deal to Philando Castile, Elton Sterling, the list goes on. That's kind of like where the inspiration came from. And then, as far as like the production, man, I feel like I feel like I'm kind of in a different place now in terms of I used to do a lot of like trap beats and things like that, but I feel like I've kind of went to more of that soulful boom bap type vibe. And I feel like that combination has really kind of went well with this project.
Right.
What about you? What's some of your inspiration?
Man, for me, I like what's crazy, I get not really labeled, but I think with the era I grew up in, so I'm able to use punchlines and metaphor and be witty, that a lot of that catch people to not really put me in a box, but you expect that. But my thing is storytelling and being a lyricist. Is like, I love the pen writing aspect. So with this, I always would, I ain't gonna say I dibble and dab, I make songs about with message and meaning and being, conscious of what's going on and aware to make my audience think, because I understand as an artist, I'm able to paint pictures with words, but to have a project of this magnitude that's gonna be current to the current listener, and then I have young kids that's growing up in this world that this gonna still be a reference to, because like as a father now, and I was a father when we met, but the older I'm getting with that, I feel more responsibility of not really watching what I'm saying, but make sure what I'm saying has longevity, because I don't want to, when I'm like right now, we currently in Dallas, Texas, I live in the Lafayette, Louisiana area. Me and my wife, we flew out here. So
shout out to the flats.
Yeah, so this business, but at the same time, my kids at home.
Yep.
So this has to be something meaningful when I come back. Like, this not me just going to the studio an hour away or 30 minutes away just recording, which not saying that's not relevant either. But it makes me think like that. So my whole mind frame is different while I'm working on a project like this. And like you said, when we met, I remember one of the first songs I got from you, it was almost like, not really a twerk beat, but one of them bounce type records in New Orleans because of the Louisiana, and it fit with what I was doing.
But see, I'm glad you said that, because that speaks also to where I was at that time.
Right.
Not to say I still don't make beats like that, but it's like, my sound has evolved over the years, and now I feel like the beats that I'm making really kind of defined me a lot better than it did back then. Yeah.
And what's crazy, you see that with artists, that every verse, whereas the goal should be every verse you getting better and this and that. So to see you evolve as a producer, because your beats been nice, but like you said, to see where it's going on with the meaning, and for us to have a real collaboration, it's not you sending me a record with a verse and a hook vice versa, and we in here working together, putting our brains together, and it's a pure collaboration that's just fit, and it's almost like we wrote a book together, man. Like, no cap, where you're gonna be able to eat off of this for years to come, bro.
Yeah.
It's gonna be one of them records that if you don't catch it when it come out, next year when you listening to it, you be like, oh damn, they said that. Like you said, some of the records we did, that was a while back, was still ahead of time.
Yep.
So imagine the records that we did recently, so it's amazing.
Yeah, it's just I'm definitely glad that we got a chance to do this, and it's definitely not gonna be our last time. I think that when people really start to hear this record, start to see this video, we're gonna probably attract a lot more, people that. The funny thing is, I was thinking about this. Maybe people that are fans of you that don't necessarily know about me and vice versa.
Right. Yeah.
It's gonna kind of like we be crossing over at some point, and I'm just glad to have done this for the culture. First off, it was you really who gave me the concept for it, because I was just ready to do like a regular.
Yeah, what's crazy, the original project, and we're gonna eventually do that too. The original project we wanted to do was, almost like he the producer on the rapper thing. And these guys was like, man, I'm gonna just cook up all the records and you just cook up all the lyrics, and that's fine, because that's both of our strong points, like we do that. And even though I said it, you inspired me one time because it was one of these events that's always happening almost weekly now on Facebook. And I've been social aware, like my thing came from Trayvon Martin, because it's crazy, I ended up breaking my teeth and my hands playing football in 2012, where I know this vividly, around right before my birthday in March. And if I'm not wrong, he got killed like late February, early March, something like that. Well, my wife was pregnant with my son. I had my little girl at the time, my oldest. That was my first son. She was pregnant when my son was born in July 2012. So once I'm healing up, she done had the baby. Months went by, I'm still healing up, she done had the baby. And the Trayvon thing is getting bigger and bigger from when he first get killed to now, like months later, it's just growing and growing and growing. And it hit me so different because sometimes when stuff like that would happen, you would think of yourself.
Yeah.
And he was a young kid. So now having a son, I remember just being in the bed, looking at my son, CNN on, watching it. And that was the first time one of them national stories hit me where I was like, man, I gotta start pulling away from TV because I see what it does. And I went to college for broadcast journalism. So I look at media totally different because I understand behind the scenes what the agendas are. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Not as the average consumer. And then when I still got hooked into it, I understood the power of it. But that story made me so socially aware because now it's like, man, I really have to protect this little boy growing up in the world like this. Because it's different with us, because we feel like we could just maneuver and skate through it. And our parents had to pray for us and everything, got us. But having him, and like with your nephews, and I have nephews and stuff, you look at those, and even just the random youngsters behind us, the kids coming behind us, you look at that as we have to set something in place for either we could change these laws or give them the game where they'll know. So when I started being socially conscious, aware of stuff, and like I said, I can't remember the event, but it was something you post, and I was reading and we was thinking about that concept for the first day. And I reached out to you, I'm like, no, dude, this is what we have to do. Like you got a voice also. And I'm a big fan of your music, like I like your production, but as an artist, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I like you as an artist, so I'm like, nah, we gotta do this. I can't make beats, but we gotta do the songs and the verses 50-50. Like this the message we need to tell the world, like you say, doing it for the culture.
I think part of it, like, and you could hear it on some of the tracks, like the Botham John deal that happened actually right here in Dallas. I didn't like the way some people had some things to say about that, especially from the black community. Right. And that kind of gave me some inspiration in some ways, in a not necessarily a good way, but it motivated me to write. And then it just seemed like one thing kept happening after the other. And we had George Floyd, and right after that y'all saw me come out with Every Day. But like it just, I guess I got a lot of that whole side of just rapping about social issues from Nas. Right, because I listened to a lot of his albums, but like the Untitled album where he got his back turned, he got the N on his back, but it looks like they lashed his back. Right. He had social topics the whole way through. Right. And I've always wanted one day to come out with something, we all can't be that person, but we can all make our own mark on this world in some way, kind of like you were saying earlier. And I think this is it for us. And as I said earlier, I'm glad we really got a chance to do this project. Definitely gonna do more in the future. Whether it's like this, whatever, just like to create good music. But it's something that's really needed because a lot of my other music, even though I may make 1 or 2 songs on an album like this, and I rap about a wide variety of topics.
Right.
So just to kind of hone in and really focus on one thing, and then especially releasing it in Black History Month, it's going to be huge as well. I just can't really wait to see what everybody's response is when they hear the Raptavist album and when they see the video. And other than that, as I said, it was definitely a pleasure doing this project together. Tell them where they can find you online.
Oh man, with my social media handles, I make things as simple as possible. Blackmark5, BLAKKMARC5, any social media site.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What about you, D-Dot?
And me, D.Major Music, D._Major Music. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter, D.MME. My Facebook, I go in and out. I mean, you can look me up under the same thing, but I usually deactivate my account and then activate it when I release something. So I kind of come and go on Facebook side. So really follow me on Instagram and then subscribe to YouTube, because this is the Major Music Lounge, the new segment on my YouTube channel where I'm gonna be bringing interviews and things like this to you. Every now and then, to kind of supplement all the gear talk and all the other stuff that I post on the website. Look out also real soon for the fake news video, as we just shot that today, and that'll probably be out sometime in February. You can find that on pretty much my YouTube or his YouTube as well, and of course IGTV. Feel free, holler at us. If you got any questions, hey, we might even go on and do a Q&A around that time. You never know. Just appreciate everybody that supporting this project, supports the channel, supports me, supports MA. Y'all keeping it real. And until next time, I'm out.